It starts.
Complete the mission.
What's up everybody, welcome to iTalk Games. Today, I'm bringing the next part of my Star Wars Outlaws gameplay. This is the third video so far, so if you haven't watched the other two, make sure to go back and check those out so you know what's going on and you're all caught up. In this video, I go through my first heist for and against, actually, a couple of the factions I'll be involved with and learn what it means to be an outlaw in this universe. I hope you enjoy. After I won that game of Sabak, I meandered around again for a while, checking corners and behind bars, just looking for anything I could find. I found another one of these race betting tables, one of these horse or fathier betting tables that I can use, but I didn't want to place a bet still, and I had just finished gambling, so I wanted to move on and do something else. I decided to stop exploring and continue on with my mission to find Gorak. I still needed to find him because he supposedly can help me find the parts I need to fix my ship. Gorak's place is in the back of this cantina, and as I headed down the hall into the cantina, I ran into this guy.
You want to meet Gorak? Pike Underboss? I got a VIP invite to his private suite.
He offered me a pass, and I had a feeling he was full of shit, but I figured if he wasn't, then I'd get nothing. You know, if I just walked away and he was actually selling something, then I'd miss out. But if I turned him down and never actually checked, then I would have no idea. So, being 99% sure nothing would come of it, I still decided to go through with it just to see what would happen.
Yeah, thanks.
And now that I think about it, something good could have happened if I hadn't gone through with it too. Who knows, it's another one of those things. I finally made it into the bar, and when I did, I tried the direct approach. I walked right up to the bartender and asked to go see Gorak. Clearly that was a mistake. She lets me know only certain people are able to get in there, which is when I tried to see if this fake VIP pass would work.
Oh, then it's a good thing I have this. VIP invite.
I think someone took you for a ride, kid.
It obviously didn't, and so I walked around the bar a bit, both to explore and to see where I needed to go next. It wasn't immediately obvious. I found a balcony outside and a jukebox that were both cool to see, especially seeing that you can change the music yourself. I also came across a back room that had a vent that I assumed would be my way in, but I hadn't explored the bar much yet, so I decided to head back out and look around some more. I headed outside and back down the entrance hallway to see if that grifter was still there and I could confront him, but he wasn't, obviously.
And that ticket scammer's gone.
Would have been cool if he was, if they gave a little, something we could do to him afterwards, but even after playing the game, I'm not sure I ever saw him again. I came through here and I talked to this electrician who I could have bribed to let me into where I'm trying to go, but decided against it, and I tried a couple of direct approaches just walking up to the bouncer to see what would happen.
Get lost.
When none of that worked, I decided to head back into that back room and go in through the vent. I got through the vents and landed in an elevator that triggered a cutscene, where we got to see Kay meeting Gorak for the first time.
All right, let's go see Gorak.
This is Governor Thornton's city, not yours.
A group of people are huddled around Gorak, and we see him flex his muscle by shooting an officer who's come to tell him that his bribes to the authorities are increasing.
Tell the governor the payments will not increase.
He's not going to pay more though, clearly. He notices Kay, doesn't recognize her, and for some reason seems to take a liking to her.
You never make new friends?
I have enough friends.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay me to hang out with you.
She's funny.
Waka sent me. He said, you might have some work?
She mentions that Waka, the mechanic who found us crash-landed earlier, sent her, but apparently that was the wrong move. Apparently Waka isn't really respected around here, so Gorak has her dragged out of the room. He's still friendly, relatively, and tells her to come back when she learns more about the underworld on that planet.
You're new to this world. Come back when you're not.
As I leave Gorak's, I see that Nyx has stolen his ring, and I run into a broker named Danka who gives me a rundown of what's going on around there and how the criminal underworld works.
First day, the Pikes have the most say. Crimson Dawn, hungry for Gorak's kingdom. The Huts. With them, what you see is what you get.
After her spiel, I learn how the reputation system works in the game. As I complete different jobs and different tasks around the world and around the galaxy, my reputation with the different factions will increase and decrease, and new opportunities will arise if I have enough reputation with each faction. After introducing me to how this criminal underworld works, Danka lets me know that there's actually an opportunity for me to make a name for myself. Someone needs something from Gorak's base, and they want me to steal it. So I embark out on my first official act in this new, seedy world. I left the bar and, obviously, decided to do more exploring. I saw this Imperial symbol on my minimap and wanted to see what it was about, so I walked around where the marker was and couldn't find anybody. I ended up walking down this alley. I didn't see anybody, but I did see this vent and decided to go through it. There were a couple pickups in here, but the main treasure looked to be locked behind this barrier, which required an item or a skill I didn't have yet. And still no sign of whatever that symbol was, so I headed back out. I thought maybe the symbol was referring to these guys, but no such luck. I looked around a bit more. I see that there's an upper area, so maybe I need to get up there to see what the symbol is. I used Nyx's ability a bit to see if that would give me any clues as to where to go, and I stole from this stormtrooper in the process. I headed toward where there could be some stairs, only to discover that they lead down when I'm trying to go up. I headed back to look around around again, but I felt like I had looked around there enough, so I decided to see if I had to go down to go back up. Maybe the path up was in another area. I headed down these stairs and once again was shown that I needed to return to the quest area and I couldn't leave. I wanted to see what would happen this time though, so I just let it count down. Of course, it just reloaded me to the last checkpoint, but you know, sometimes they give a cool animation when they do it. When the game loaded back in, I decided against trying to find out whatever that symbol was, so I started to head toward the mission. This back area over here looks new, and certainly looks like a place where I could sneak in somewhere, so I looked around here for a bit. I thought maybe I had to go this way somehow, but this wasn't the way I was supposed to do it if so. I died and had to start again. I checked that area again, and seeing nothing new, decided I didn't want to jump off a cliff one more time, so I went to find another way. Is this a hole or just a light? It'd be crazy if it was a hole, right? I'm gonna check. Okay, just a light. I ran up to what appears to be the Pike's entrance, but I'm not well known or well liked enough to just walk in through the front door, so they didn't let me through. I eavesdrop on this conversation.
That ring looks valuable.
Fine. Take it.
How'd he see the ring if it was in his pocket? I head to the side and down this ladder to see if that's the way in. After roaming around for a while, not seeing anything, I finally did something enough to trigger a call to Waka where Kay asks for advice. He tells us that there's a vent nearby and to be careful, and so I start looking for that. I find the vent, headed through, and made my way stealthily into Gorak's base. As soon as I enter the base, I'm contacted by the mysterious person who gave me the job, and they tell me they've been notified that I've made it in. Which is another thing that doesn't make sense in this game. If some random person has an eye on me this entire time, why wouldn't the other factions? Like, why wouldn't Gorak's people have an eye on me at the same time too? Especially as I just tried to break into his base. There's a ton of little things like that that just kind of ruin the immersion in this game for me. I mean, it was fun enough that I kept playing it, and I'm a bit of a completionist, so I finished it and I lived with it. But I do wish some of the storyline and quality of life elements like that made more sense. I sneaked around, trying to get my bearings in this new area to see if I could find the enemies and their walking patterns. I dropped down to this part, found some resources to steal, and continued on. I hadn't seen these guards for a while. I honestly kind of forgot about them, but then I saw them coming back, so I had to go hide real fast. They didn't come as far as I was though, so I was alright. I saw this vent, wanted to see where it led. It looks like it comes from where I was a second ago. It was a more sneaky way to get to where I just came from. Like, I was already over here. I just missed it. Oh well, live and learn. I'll know for next time. I'm still looking for ways to get into the room where I'm trying to steal the information. Primarily looking for a vent or something like that where I know I won't be caught. I didn't see anything, didn't see any places though, so I decided to just head down to this area and attempt to hide behind this wall. I was seen in the process for a second, so I had to go hide. He didn't find me luckily, and I was able to get by. Those two guards that have been walking back and forth are making their rounds back. I had them beat, so I headed forward. Unbeknownst to me though, there was another guard standing down there, and I was nearly caught again. I took my time, waited it out. I managed to get away, played a little bit more stealthy. Truthfully, I was more worried about getting caught and was in more of a state of paralysis than trying to be strategic. But either way, I waited it out. Finally made the moves, got past those guards, felt good. Looked like I was approaching the room I needed to get into, looking around for any prompts or any indicators for anything I could pick up or directions that I actually needed to head, maybe something to climb or swing from. Didn't see anything, so I just headed down those stairs to what I thought was the next place. And with all this heavy fog, since I was looking around, I literally didn't even see these two guards at the bottom of the stairs. After all of that, I was immediately caught. So much for all that waiting around I did earlier.
No hard feelings.
The game reloaded me back at the entrance of the base, so I dropped down here to grab that same resource again and headed up to attempt this heist one more time. I overcorrected a bit this time though. It was careless. I was nearly caught almost immediately. Fortunately, I was able to use Nyx as a distraction and get away again. I made my way around the same area, behind the same wall. Knowing I was able to get caught by those two guards in front of that door, I was a bit more careful. Having gone through this once, obviously, I already had a bit of an idea of who was around and what their patterns were, so I moved through a bit more quickly. Instead of heading down those same stairs this time though, I looked around for another way forward. On the side over here, I saw a climbable grate looking thing on the wall, so I headed that way and climbed. I hate when one button does multiple things. I don't want to climb back down. I want to crouch. Come on. I pushed forward, found another door to hack with my data spike, and ultimately made my way into the more well-guarded area of the base where I can start to look for the data I need to steal. It's not immediately obvious where I'm supposed to go, so I walk around a bit looking for less obvious paths that might be better or might have some collectibles. This was a bit of a puzzle area though, so I ended up having to figure that out. I had to figure out what to do with the turbo lifts and how to proceed. I called one turbo lift, elevator, down so I could climb on top of it and get across this gap, and I needed to use Nyx to get through this small space so he could hit the button and move the next elevator.
Get the button, Nyx. Oh, alright. This'll work.
I jumped across, walked past the opening because there was more platform and I wanted to see what was at the end of it. There was something, so worth it. Went back to go through the pipe, found another pickup, and came this way to discover another puzzle to solve to stop this fan and proceed. I used Nyx to hold open this little door while I take care of the power source. I wasn't fast enough the first time and I was crouched and I thought I'd be able to see it through the grate, but I couldn't, so I had to stand up, and this time I knew what I was looking for and how short my window of opportunity was, so I was prepared and was able to hit
You
it.
can hold that open for me? Good boy, Nyx. Let's go.
I continued on through, searching for pickups and collectibles, and I started to notice these little yellow triangle things that are clearly arrows pointing us in the direction we're supposed to go, so that's nice to have. I made it across this gap, looked down to see if I wanted to go down there, but it looks like where you'd fall just if you failed, so you could try again, so I didn't. Went up this ladder and found myself in a whole nother area of Gorak's base, one that shows his operation is much bigger than it appears from the outside. Guess it's pretty clear why he has so much influence and lack of fear. Kay mentions that we can go loud if we have to now, but I'm trying to be a stealthy, get in, get out, never knew I was even there type. It is a RPG, right? So I'm going to try to not do that. I'm prompted on how to use my binoculars, so I give that a shot, see where I need to ultimately make it, and get ready to continue on. I saw a couple ways down, but I like having the high ground.
I have the high ground.
So I wanted to see if I could stay high and observe while making my way toward the back of the base. I tried to jump across this gap, but the game wasn't allowing that, and I fell down to the below area. I glanced around, kind of, didn't see much opposition, and took a risk to jump across here. A guard ended up seeing me, but he was easy enough to take out before he even knew what happened. Came in this room to see if there was anything I could hack, maybe turn off a camera, or maybe even this is where I'd have to disable that energy barrier, but there wasn't anything in there, so I headed back out. I took my time walking around, saw these two guards. I wasn't sure if they ever moved from this spot, and I didn't want to find out, so with the help of Nyx, I went and took them both out as well. Truthfully, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do to lower the energy barrier, so my plan was just to take these guards out to give myself a little bit more freedom to walk around. I went back to these guys, wanted to take them out by exploding this barrel. I hoped that at worst, a couple guards would hear, they'd be on alert, but I didn't think a whole alarm would be set off. It was though, and I ended up having to start shooting my way out. Like I said in the last video, I'm trying not to simply reload a save because of playstyle, so I suffered the consequences of blowing up that barrel and just started to fight. I was holding my own in the firefight for a while, but ultimately didn't survive. A guard came from a blind side that I never even saw and took me out while I was focused on other people. When the game reloaded this time, I was standing at this power unit, or whatever this is that provides power, and realized that's what I had to take out in order to lower that energy barrier. Duh. This time, I decided to simply head to the other side of the base as quietly as I can and see if I could take out the other barrier without raising alarm or having anybody see me at all. Fortunately, this side was able to be powered down with a switch that Nyx could turn off, so I sent him to take care of it and just stood there while he did his thing. I headed back to where the barrier was, data spiked through the next door, and continued my way up the tower. There were a couple items I could pick up in a chest I could hack into in this room, so I did that and looked around a bit more before accessing the terminal I needed to hack into. I found the file I was supposed to steal, just to find it was some sort of recipe, and not being satisfied with that, Kay found an encrypted file, so we went through the Wordle-style puzzle hack to get into that. This one is a video of someone named Tizlak conspiring with the governor about his plans to overthrow Gorak.
Overthrowing someone like Gorak takes time.
So I've got to figure out what to do with that information. But after the video plays, the alarm sounds and I'm attacked by more guards. I take out these guards, and as I walk by where they were standing, I see I can pick up their weapons. Wondering if I'm able to keep those in my inventory, I pick it up. But I end up dropping it as soon as I jump across and start climbing. Looks like I won't be able to keep weapons I pick up off the ground. I make my way across and through these vents, and I was led into what looked like a bedroom maybe, with a few more guards. Since they hadn't seen me yet, I was gonna go through stealthily, but I didn't really see a way. There was one door out and they were kind of everywhere. I could have tried to use my tase gun to knock them out, but I wasn't gonna wait for that cooldown between each one. It's like literally a minute. I'm not about to do that. Also, I noticed that Nyx could pick up weapons and bring them to me, so I wanted to give that a shot. Nyx brought me a sniper, and I ended up just using that to take out the remaining enemies. I ran through the room, picking up anything that looked valuable, see, available to be picked up, and found a way out. I made it across this platform, and for the life of me could not figure out where to go. I ran back and forth up some stairs, even going back to the point where I entered this area, but I could not find my way out. After a while, I finally remembered Nyx's ability to highlight items of interest and things like that, and when I activated it, I saw this branch I could swing from that I just completely missed somehow. I made my way across, down, and found myself back at the hangar entrance area of Morgana.
I think we're good, Nyx.
I needed to return to Danka to complete the mission, and as I head that way, I see backup heading towards Gorak's base, seeing how they just got robbed. Good thing they don't know it was me though, because I'm right here. Since they ignored me, I decided to follow them to see what would happen, and confirm that they were in fact heading to where I thought they were heading, but I couldn't get past this gate still. I wandered around a bit more, and since I was testing the waters of the enemies, wanted to see what would happen if I walked up to these stormtroopers too. I wasn't sure if they were just like visually there to add to the atmosphere, make us see them standing there and whatnot, or if they were literally blocking off a path that I could go down later. They seemed to be blocking off a path, but either way I couldn't get by. I headed down, back to the bar to meet up with Danka, and I find out that the mysterious person who's been watching me, who gave me the mission, is Illyra, the broker for the Crimson Dawn. She essentially confirms that it was a test mission that I was sent on, which is why it was only a recipe, but also explains that Sliro in Zurich Besh has found that I've landed here and has been asking around for me.
Recognize her? Because Zurich Besh showed up with one of their best, asking a lot of questions.
Despite Sliro's power and influence, the Crimson Dawn are protecting me. My skills are good enough, I guess? I don't know why. But they say they'll do so as long as I continue to work for them.
You work for us again? It stays that way.
I was then presented with another choice, whether to share the information about the traitor that I found with them or save it for another day. This is another one of those things where I never know what to do, and I agonized over this decision for a while. Like, I looked back, literally almost 3 full minutes, and ultimately decided to share the information with them. After all, she did just save my ass from Sliro. She thanks me for the info. Danka welcomes me to the criminal underworld, and I'm off to make a name for myself. Thanks for watching. Honestly, I'm not really sure when part 4 is coming. I've played quite a few games since playing this one, and I want to get to those, and frankly, I'm not as excited about this game anymore. I'll probably make another one, giving more of a review, like an overall thoughts type video, but I'm not sure I'm going to get into the weeds of the actual gameplay anymore. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in that, though. I guess I can still do it, and if you're an editor willing to work for free, let me know in the comments, because I'll need that help. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for what's to come.